hang on. What's going on here? Why are we playing music this time of the morning? We shouldn't be doing that. My goodness.
Is that the kind of music you were dancing to the other night when you were out on the drink, Dave?
It certainly was. It certainly was. We've had our technical challenges.
Last night as well.
We've had our technical challenges this morning, just like Newcastle had in the draw for the Carrier Bag Cup, we discover. But, anyway.
Ry should be singing the Champions League song to me. Come on, Ry.
Group of death. Anyway. This is how it should have. This is how it should have sounded.
From Yarm to Yibby, Harrington to Horsley Hill, Swarwell to Silverlink, Steve and Ry, the North East Footy Breakfast.
Right across the North East, the Red, the Toon and the Cat.
All right, enough of that. We had music earlier. Good morning, boys. How are you?
Good morning. Champions League football is back. And Newcastle United are in Group F, not the Group of Death. Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan. Newcastle have never played any of those sides competitively in their history. Of course, they did visit the San Siro to play Inter Milan in 2003. But the big news, I think, for Newcastle United fans out there is that Sandro Tonali is going to be back on familiar ground this season. Of course, he played for AC Milan in the Champions League last year, and it's a great opportunity for him to go back home and play against his old club. There's also a return to Dortmund for Alexander Isak, which a lot of people maybe didn't know. But the other good thing for Newcastle fans is that the attendances, the venues and the capacities for these particular Champions League games are massive. Paris Saint-Germain, Parc des Princes, 49,000. Milan San Siro, of course, 75,000. And Dortmund, wait for this, 81,000.
It's a brilliant stadium.
We've got to wait now. We've got to wait now until Saturday because the confirmation of the match order, the match dates, usually comes within 48 hours. And I think the big thing for Newcastle fans as well, those especially who managed to listen to the podcast of this show, if you're coming to the Brentford game, you might have to make a change with your travel arrangements because at the moment it's set for a 4:30 kick-off on Sunday the 17th of September, live on Sky. But that might change depending on which day Newcastle play their first group game. It could get brought forward to Saturday, September the 16th, or it could get moved, again. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But look, I'm buzzing as you can tell.
You're sounding up.
To finally see
it's
it.
good. I like
great
it.
to finally see it, lads. And it's just exciting, lads. Whether we win or lose, it doesn't matter. We're there, and we're flying the flag for the North East.
No, I'm looking outside the window. I'm looking outside the window, boys. It's grey clouds. It's drab. It's miserable. I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking about Newcastle's chances of progressing out of the group stage.
No, I tell you what. Listen to Owen Hargreaves. Owen Hargreaves has tipped us to win the group.
Wow,
really? There you go.
Yeah.
What a feat that would be if you get through that in group. What a feat that would be.
Live on TNT yesterday, I watched the draw. I mean, there was a load of faff on as usual, but people playing the Champions League on violins and stuff. But I mean, once they got into it, it was great to watch. The draw. Joe Cole, of course, you knew he wasn't going to pronounce Newcastle properly. He went Newcastle, but ultimately, it was great to see him pull the ball out. And listen, we probably could have had a worse group. Man City's probably got the easiest group. They're going to waltz through. They're going to waltz through to the to the last 16. But whatever happens, it's just a great opportunity for Newcastle fans, young and old, to get away. And out of them all, I think I'm excited about Mbappe coming. Mbappe coming to the team and having a night out in the big market. And I mean, and I'm really looking forward to going to Borussia Dortmund's ground because out of all of the grounds, that one really appeals to me. That really looks like a great trip. Away.
It's a terrific stadium. I was there for the World Cup. What was it? When did Germany have it? 2006. An amazing stadium. It really is. I mean, it's traditional in its structure. You've got the stands right close to the pitch, but they're huge. They're enormous, and the atmosphere is incredible.
It looks amazing. And look, I love the tweet you put out, Steve, as well. In just 693 days, Newcastle have gone from a slow, lingering, certain death to the UCL group of death.
Yeah,
you can't be upset with that. You can't be upset with that.
Definitely not.
693 days ago under Mike Ashley to now getting pulled out of the Champions League draw. I mean, it's amazing.
And we haven't got a Mackem this morning, and you know
No.
why, of course.
Yeah.
Because our Chief Executive Officer, Darren Eales, in front of millions of people worldwide, coined that phrase that we all like to use, I've never seen a Mackem in Milan. Fantastic.
What do you
And
think
then
of
no
that?
one rocked up this morning, eh?
Yeah. What do you think of that, Steve? Should you see your chief executive coming out with that? Coming out with a phrase that would be worthy of being on this show.
We've made we're making the best breakfast show, in the Northeast about banter, and that's banter. That's the kind of banter you want to see between Newcastle, Sunderland and Middlesbrough fans. We can all say it, but I know what you're saying. It's the Chief Executive Officer, but he's not interested in keeping Mackem's happy. He's not interested in keeping Sunderland fans happy. He's interested in playing to the masses. It was a smooth bit of PR from him, and it just endears him. It endears him to the Newcastle fans. And I tell you what, I mean, if I'm going to be a cynical Newcastle fan, and I'm entitled because I'm over 50. That's a way of schmoozing fans so that you can get away with a few things, because there's going to be, as we've said on this show, there's going to be things that are going to upset fans. They're going to change the face of Newcastle United. They're going to up ticket prices. People who used to be able to get tickets in certain areas aren't going to be able to get them. That's what you call a smooth PR operator. And people of my age don't get fooled by that, but other people will go, yeah, Darren Eales is cool, he's great, he's this, he's that, but we've got to keep our eye on him, I think, is what I would say.
No, and you could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable saying it as well, because, during an interview talking about being in the Champions League, ballsy confident, and he come to that line and his voice just retreated a little bit. You could see that semi-uncomfortable smirk on his face. I think it was all pre-planned. He's been told to say it, and he's gone, oh, okay, then I'll say it. I mean, that's my reading of the body language behind it.
Yeah, I would agree. And of course, today isn't just Newcastle fans celebrating about being in the Champions League, but Ry, this is officially in England transfer deadline day. So
I know. I got it. I picked early. I thought it was yesterday. I thought 31st of August, that was the shut, but obviously I'm behind or in front, or I can't work it out, but I'm not good with the time zones, but it is officially the day. And Middlesbrough making two loan signings yesterday, so massive day. And Sunderland going the complete opposite way. I said in the WhatsApp chat, we've had more people on from the Mackems this week on the show than they have transfers in. So it looks like all their players are leaving today, so it's going to be a very scary watch for a Sunderland fan, and a very, very good watch for the Boro fans.
So who are you expecting to get in, Ry? And good news in Newcastle's front, because I said it was going to be quiet, but Sheffield Wednesday came in yesterday with some inquiry about taking Hayden and Hendrick on loan for the rest of the season.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, we're thinking we get one more through the door. The rumours are that it's Alex Bangura. Alex Bangura is a left-back Sierra Leonean player, and he... has already been, apparently it's all a done deal, and we should see that first up this morning, and then that should be pretty much it, you would think, from the Boro. We obviously got Sam Greenwood yesterday, which, might I add, is a local Sunderland that had the chance to return to Sunderland, but chose the Middlesbrough over it. And then obviously Lewis O'Brien from Nottingham Forest as well. So two of the strong rumours obviously coming true, and we saw Middlesbrough announcing them back-to-back yesterday, which was amazing and incredible. Especially for Lewis O'Brien. I think it's just a player we needed definitely in that midfield era. So I'm really excited by those two signings. And then if we sign another left back, I don't know what it means for Hayden Coulson because obviously we've got Engel, the left back, and now Alex Bangura, who is another left back. I don't know what it means for for Hayden Coulson, but it's definitely exciting times at the Boro. And you can see we're not willing to sit and accept where we are, where if you have a look just up the road, Sunderland, unfortunately, are in a world of hurt. We've had rumours that, that Patrick Roberts is going to join Ross Stewart on the way to Southampton. Both apparently have had bids accepted from the team they're versing on Saturday. It looks like all of Sunderland will be there, but they're all going to be playing for Southampton by the looks of it. And then obviously Jack Clark. Jack Clark's come out and said, well, hang on a second. They said that you weren't going to let me leave unless you got a 10 million or more bid in. They apparently got that, and they still wouldn't let Jack Clark leave. And now they've just turned around and said, yep, Ross and yes, Roberts, you can both leave. So it's very interesting times at Sunderland. It's the fans aren't happy, and they are purely putting it back on the ownership, saying that they're doing it to frustrate Mogger and get him out of the club. So it's an interesting watch, and it's a tale of two stories at the moment, with Middlesbrough bringing people in, and we're all happy. Obviously, we still languish in the bottom of the table, but these types of signings, I tell you, these are the players that will get us up and back to where we belong.
There's a phrase in there that I'm quite used to, which is "you can leave Roberts." There you go. I mean, we haven't got a Mackem on today, and it's obviously poignant, bearing in mind their former players choose Boro over Sunderland. They're about to lose their stars. Newcastle will get the Champions League draw that they've been dreaming about. So we would like to hear from Sunderland fans this morning on the Breakfast Show. All you got to do is WhatsApp us. You'll get your comments across on WhatsApp. 0330 043 2002. That's 0330 043 2002. See, boys, 12 minutes in, we got the number out. I normally remember about the hour mark. So again, and just to translate from my Teesside Brug, 0330 043 2002. That is the WhatsApp number. Sunderland fans, what do you think of what's going on at your football club in terms of signings outwards more than inwards as we approach the deadline? Newcastle fans, Champions League draw, what do you think of that? How delighted are you? Would you have rather had the easy group and, give yourself best chance to progress, or pull the big names and the big stars, which it looks like you've done? And Boro fans, bit of tiny transfer business before the deadline day. What do you think? Again, that number 0330 043 2002. One good thing I can say, fellas, is, and we know Steve's doing a bit of an early runner today, we are going to be chatting with James Copley, who is the Sunderland writer and a Sunderland fan at the Sunderland Echo. So it'll be good to get the journal's view of what's happening.
It will.
At the
it will be.
Stade de Loom. Right, let's keep our powder dry. Bit of music. We'll be right back after this. Oh, just realised it's another Aussie connection. Natalie Imbruglia, and no, Ry, I didn't go on a date with her.
I thought I saw a man brought to life.
Well, the Aussie connections just keep flying. Natalie Imbruglia, tone.
Come on, Dave. Dave, it's Champions League day. Can you not play some French music, some German music? Yeah, come on, man. Get with the program. Where's the Champions League music?
We want a little bit of Pavarotti up in here.
Well, I can do a bit of Vanessa parody.
That's brilliant.
In French as well. You've got to get used to it, Steve. Bonjour. Yeah.
I tell you what, the taxi drivers don't look like that in Baker.
And I bet they wouldn't know what you're talking about if you went bonjour, monsieur. They'd just be looking at you going, why, aye, man?
If you need to go to the toilet, do you have to say wee wee?
Wee wee.
Wee.
Fantastic. So the Champions League, I haven't mentioned it much this morning, lads, but just to remind you, Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund and AC Milan are all coming to the tune. Fantastic.
Amazing. Incredible. And I'm
transfer
excited.
Transfer window, right? Transfer window.
Mate. It's been incredible 24 hours. Obviously, we've had the Champions League draw. I was watching that with great angst because obviously my new love for Steve Wraith I have. I went into his podcast yesterday as he was chatting. I asked him if he dated one of the Minogue sisters. He hasn't, Dave. It's just you.
Oh, good.
We cleared that up yesterday on his YouTube channel, which was amazing. And watching the Champions League draw, it was incredible seeing obviously Newcastle pull the big leagues. But we have deadlines. Tonali returning home. Listen.
You cannot beat a bit of Pavarotti, lads. What a classic. And of course, this will be on my playlist as I'm flying out to Italy.
I hope you're playing it on your phone or like a speaker as you walk into the stadium of AC Milan, the San Siro.
This just brings back echoes of 1990. Waddle, Beardsley, Gaza, the tears in Turin, a big bowl of spaghetti bolognese and some homemade garlic bread.
Good man. Were you there?
1990. Now I was sitting in my living room with my mates. 24 bottles of that cheap beer you used to buy from Spain. You used to get them little bottles, 60p bottles.
Did you stick a wedge of lime in the neck? The bottle of the bottom?
No, that was pre-Sol days. Fantastic. So
I gotta ask you.
We've had France. We've had France. We've had Italy. We've got Germany. You're gonna need to work on Germany.
We need a German song. We need
Kraftwerk.
some barista.
Kraftwerk. That's the one, isn't it? Go on, Ray. What are we going to see?
I love it. Obviously, we got deadline day today. We got a big day. We've already talked about the Boro, obviously getting 2 new boys in, potentially 1 out the door. The Mackems aren't doing absolutely anything except selling their whole team to Southampton. But I wanted to hear, now that we've seen the Champions League draw and obviously the window up for 24 hours, does it push Newcastle to go, hang on a sec, we might need a few more to cover this group? Or are we still status quo? Oh, there it is. Against Barissa, are we going to see Dan Burn happily take on Mbappe down the wing?
That's a great question, by the way, as 99 Red Balloons and Nina kicks in. Dan Burn, right, will love and relish the chance of pulling on the black and white shirt in the Champions League. He will be as proud as punch representing his team. I am 100% sure. But him against Mbappe is going to be a sight for sore eyes. Honestly. Yeah. Listen, honestly, it's just exciting, mate. It's exciting. It really is. But getting back to the transfer window, you were saying how much is being spent in this window?
It's 2 billion. It's just passed, so it's another record-breaking transfer window. We spoke about it yesterday, but we're seeing each year that the transfer window, obviously net spend, is actually getting broken every year. It's incredible. I just can't believe that in the 2023 era, we see obviously some of the big things, but we're seeing that it's just reached over 2 billion. It's in total 2.13 billion to be exact, setting another new record. Each year we seem to be breaking a new record, but do you know who the biggest spender is? It's not going to be hard to guess this. With 384.8 million of that 2.13 billion, who's spent the most in the
Chelsea.
Chelsea. 384.8 million has been splurged out by Chelsea, and obviously we got Declan Rice's large move from West Ham over to Arsenal for 105 as well. But do you guys think we're heading in the wrong direction by each year setting a new record, or do you think it's just part and parcel with the way the economy's going and the way the Premier League is with attracting TV rights and everything like that each year we're just going to see 2 billion worth spent?
I keep thinking that the window is going to slow down and it's going to get lower, right? But it doesn't. It gets more. And I mean, there's more to be added. I mean, big deals potentially that could go through today. Ryan Gravenberch is obviously set to undergo a Liverpool medical. That's a £34.2 million move from Bayern Munich. Manchester United are closing in on a couple of loan signings. Tottenham defender Sergio Reguilón is potentially going to be going to Old Trafford as well. And don't forget, Sofyan Amrabat is another potential late move for Manchester United. The Florentina midfielder. Man United leaving their business until late. Fulham also want Amrabat, of course. They made initial contact over the move for Manchester United. Scott McTominay. Bayern Munich are keen on the Fulham midfielder João Paulinho. And Chelsea could be ready to breach the £1 billion spend mark under Todd Bowley with a £40 million signing of Manchester City winger Cole Palmer, which is a strange one for me. And as we've reported, as we've reported on the show as well, Nunes, who we weren't too fond of because he'd gone on strike, is now having his medical at Manchester City ahead of his £53 million move from Wolves. So lots going on, and Conor Gallagher, who Newcastle will link with, could be going to Tottenham. Which is interesting. And Brennan Johnson, who you guys will know pretty well from his spell in the Championship with Nottingham Forest. Well, of course, there's potential move afoot for him as well, which would be a bitter blow for Notts Forest because he's their best player. Right?
There's been some bizarre money spent. We look at Balogun, who we had on loan from Arsenal. Yeah. He's moved for 35 million.
It's incredible. I mean, even in the Championship, we're starting to see numbers that we've never seen before. It's incredible for me to see even just the 3 promoted teams. We've obviously got Luton, Burnley and Sheffield United. And here's the spending, right? And this is what shocks me the most. Obviously, I did not expect, Burnley have come up and spent £92.1 million, right? So that's there and about. So just to give you a bit of a reference point, right? So Newcastle, Champions League, we've seen the draw they've got, have spent a total net spend in this transfer window of £130.8 million. Burnley, I've spent 92.1. In saying that, Newcastle have received 42.2 million, obviously for sales in St. Maxim and stuff like that. Burnley, a big fat zero, have not received anything. Yeah, but so they have just outlaid 92.1 million to survive. In comparison to Luton have spent 20 million and Sheffield United 41.8. So it's incredible.
Yeah, let's not forget, though, July the 1st is a big day for Premier League teams because I think it's something like 90 million quid drops into their bank account for being part of the Champions League for the season. So, there's a bit of a cushion there for the likes of Burnley to go out and spend 90 million. Now, I know you need your operating costs covered. I know you need your increased salaries and all that covered. So, it isn't just free money dropping into the account that you can just blow on transfers. But there is a bit of a cushion there for Premier League clubs.
Sunderland are looking at bringing in a couple of forwards. I've just been doing a little bit of research on the Sunderland side. Well, there's not having somebody from Sunderland on this morning until 8:30.
We need a Mackem. We need a Mackem.
There's a Ukrainian striker called Nazary Razin, who Tony Mowbray is keen on. Yeah. And Everton forward Tom Cannon has also been linked with a move to Wearside. Again, I know very little about him, but with obviously the threat of Southampton coming in and stealing Stewart is forcing Sunderland to potentially act on that. And the Ross Stewart story, I guess, is one that everybody across the North East will be following with interest, and Sunderland fans will be just praying that move doesn't go through. Southampton, of course, could lose Shea Adams because he could be on his way out of Southampton.
Yeah. I mean,
it's interesting with Tom Cannon. Tom Cannon's been linked with every club in the Championship at the moment. I swear to God.
Are Middlesbrough interested in him, Ray?
We are, yeah. So we've been linked with Tom Cannon. We've had Norwich linked with Tom Cannon. Pretty sure Southampton got linked with Tom Cannon. Tom Cannon was actually on loan at Preston last season as well in the Championship and had a pretty decent season. So Preston are interested in getting their man back as well. So at the moment, there's about 6 Tom Cannons and only one club that it can go to. It's incredible. But for Sunderland, it's insanely scary, I think, if you're going into Sunderland today. I don't think you're waking up today feeling bright as ever because you are looking to lose Ross Stewart, Patrick Roberts, and Jack Clark is now obviously rumoured. 3 of your absolute incredible first-team starters are obviously, apart from Ross Stewart, who's obviously out injured. But you're about to lose 3 amazing starters that helped get to the playoffs last season under Mogga. Are just going to walk out of the club, 2 of them going to one team in Southampton by the sounds of it, to only bring one in, and that's a scary if it's going to happen. I don't think they get Tom Cannon. I think Tom Cannon goes completely somewhere else. I think he either chooses Preston or probably even Norwich. I believe are quite favourites, and we're talking 7-8 million here for and I'm not sure Sunderland have that in the kitty. They might do after they release Patrick Roberts and that, but to have 3, potentially 2 that look like they're most likely in Patrick Roberts and Ross Stewart leaving your club today. It's incredible.
Gooch.
I just don't.
Alex
and the
Pritchard
Gooch,
as well.
I just don't get. I don't know how they recover from it, Steve. I really don't, because they've already had a bit of a shocking start to the season. We're seeing Bellingham's, obviously the younger brother, having to play striker, normally a midfielder,
Job,
and it's Job, and we're just seeing no one coming back in. I mean, as a Mackem, you must be absolutely freaking out, because I would be. I mean, I'm animated for him because, we don't have a Mackem on the show. I'm a Boro through and through, but I'm animated looking over at Mogga because all I can see is that the club are not looking after Mogga. It really does look like it's coming down from the CEOs to allow and sanction moves out of your club in Ross Stewart and Patrick Roberts and Jack Clark, who was told you can't go for 10 mil. And they did get him, and then they turn around and let Patrick Roberts and Ross Stewart leave in front of you. You must be fuming. So
if you're Tom Cannon, you're looking at Sunderland and going, there's more people going out the door than going in the door. I'm not going there. So I can't see Tom Cannon going to Sunderland at all.
No. We saw that yesterday in Sam Greenwood. Sam Greenwood obviously signing on loan from Leeds to the Boro. Sam Greenwood's a Mackem. He was born and raised in Sunderland. There's a photo of Sam as a young 11-year-old in his full Sunderland kit at an away day. So. And obviously he had the chance, obviously leaving Leeds. Apparently Sunderland were interested in Sam Greenwood, and he's chosen the Boro. So, I mean, he's a Sunderland local lad, and he's chosen to go to the Boro, which, I mean, no disrespect, but obviously, that must hurt as a Sunderland fan because, he's a Sunderland lad. He's been pictured in full Sunderland kit. He's had the chance to return to Sunderland under Mogga, and he said, no, I'd rather go to Middlesbrough, because at the moment, you're just looking at Sunderland going, what the heck is actually happening?
Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. If you're a Sunderland fan out there, get the text messages in, want to hear from Sunderland fans, because it is a big day for all the North East teams. We're in the Champions League, and Middlesbrough and Sunderland are scrapping around for players.
Yeah. So that number, you can WhatsApp us 0330 043 2002, 0330 043 2002 to get through to the North East Footy Breakfast. Boys, time for us to earn a penny. So recharge your glasses. We'll be back after this.
Clark.
My debut 1990 September, Bristol City away, to get that opportunity, what thousands of Geordies only dream of.
Hignett.
Playing against Chelsea and to score the first goal there is something that still lives with me now, and it's what most people will talk to me about.
Williams.
Our first goal for Sunderland away at Leicester, it was a left foot volley. I didn't realise my left foot was for kicking the ball with it as well. I thought it was just for standing it.
Across the Northeast, it's the three legends.
Fridays at 6 on the Cats, the Reds and the Toon.
Steve and Ry. The Northeast Footy Breakfast.
Right across the Northeast, the Reds, the Cat and the Toon.
This was especially for Steve Wraith. It's Mobile's German band, and Drowning in Berlin, which I'm sure is not what you want the Newcastle United fans to be doing when you get into the Champions League, mate. So there you go. Hang on, I'm in trouble. There we go, you're back on again. I had you off there for a moment. So where were we then? We were obviously fearing for Sunderland. Ry, you're happy at the Boro deals, I'm assuming, and the business that they've been doing.
Very happy.
Yep, good. And Steve's just cock a hoop because he's talking Champions
League, lads. Champions League, and we're talking Adidas,
Germany,
and we're talking Adidas as well today.
Is that Monday? Is that Monday?
Today,
the
mate.
deal goes
Today,
through? Today,
mate.
Okay, there you
September
go.
the 1st, a big day on Tyneside. The Strawberry Pub unveiled the Adidas logo on the side of that pub yesterday in spray paint, which was fantastic. But the official announcement is today. Of course, it was leaked on the Amazon documentary way on Newcastle United a couple of weeks ago, when the two final episodes were released by mistake and then cleverly hidden again. But Adidas coming back to Newcastle. We'll find out what it's all about today. It won't be a new sponsorship for the strip immediately, because obviously we do have Castoria in place, but Newcastle certainly teaming up with the old brand, and it's gone down well on Tyneside. People are happy because the Adidas strip is synonymous with Newcastle's entertainers team, of course, who didn't win anything but certainly caught the hearts and minds of the general public. They were known as everybody's second team, and Keegan and his wonderful band of merry men used to wear the Adidas with pride. I would say though that Adidas did create some absolutely awful strips as well, strips which you wouldn't wear even in bed. So Adidas are great, but we do tend to look through black and white tinted glasses at St James's Park at times. So for me personally, it's a great brand to have back. I think they'll probably bring out the full set of retro strips again for Newcastle fans to buy, which will be absolutely brilliant. But it made me think, what is the worst strip that Newcastle United have had? What's the worst strip that Middlesbrough and Sunderland fans feel that they've ever had? For me, my personal strip that I that I just detested was the Greenall strip. And I'll tell you why. The Greenall strip that Newcastle had was in the 80s. It was a horrendous strip. It was in the days of John Hendry, Andy Thorne, Dave Besant, Glenn Hodges, and it was obviously it's connected to Newcastle United being relegated as well, which was that 88-89 season. But the worst thing about the strips was that the actual Greenall's logo wasn't printed on. It was actually, you had to stitch it on. You had to get your mum to stitch it on.
So, nipple rash.
Across Tyneside, it wasn't nipple rash. It was. You needed a spirit level to get it right, and the problem that you had was if your mum got distracted, which my mum clearly did, then your actual Greenall sponsors was actually slightly skew with on your top. So there was hell on in the Wraith household from me as a young child. Me Greenall's thing isn't on properly, and well, I can't help it. I've tried to do it for you. I've tried to help you. So it was one of those days. But luckily Greenall's didn't stick around too long. But that for me was the worst possible strip. And Bukta, I can remember the 1970s Bukta strip, which a lot of people loved. Style, but I'm afraid it was very, very, very itchy.
Didn't they do a lot of stuff with Leeds United as well, Bukta?
Back in the 70s.
They did,
yeah. What about you, Ry? Worst Boro strip?
I'm going to have to go well back in time. Obviously, I'm 35, born in the 88, but I remember watching Middlesbrough, and I don't know if you do, Dave, in 96, 97. obviously the away strip, if you remember that. So it was made by Area, our current kit manufacturers, but the away kit for 96-97 was a misstep. Let's just say that, okay? It was weirdly looked like it was your nan's decaying curtains which went over the arm, and it also ran down the right hand side and across the thing. If you're near a computer on your phone, please Google the Middlesbrough 96-97 away kit, because the 90s were a lot of fun for Boro. I mean, we had the Riverside, Fabrizio Ravanelli, Juninho, promotion, but oh my goodness, did we get this effort wrong from Area? Because it was the nan's curtain, as I like to call it, strip, was a horrible one. But I'm actually excited to see the Adidas kits. I think we had Adidas at the Boro, and I actually liked some of their kits when they came across. Obviously, I get the away and the home each season, flown over to Australia. So I do like the quality of Adidas. So
yeah, was it the white one, the white and blue one you're talking about?
It was the white one, the white and blue one. Yeah. I'll get you a picture and you can have a look. Yeah,
I know
which one
you
mean.
The
blue of it is your nan's curtains. It was incredible. It was
horrendous.
It was horrendous. That's my worst kit for the Boro over the long period. But I'm surprised. I would have argued that the 2014-15 home one for you, Steve, Newcastle's kit. Do you remember that one with the Wonga on the front? It was made by Puma back then, though. But do you remember it then? Oh, and I remember the neckline just being so massive that you could see half the boy's shoulders.
Yeah, I think to be honest, I mean, anything with a payday loan company on, it was just bad PR, bad planning, but that was what Mike Ashley was all about. He didn't care, and he brought that in. I feel deliberately. It was like a smack in the face for a lot of Newcastle fans, some who had to use payday loan companies. So it wasn't the smartest of moves. A lot of people boycotted that as well, and I never understood Mike Ashley really in that sense, that he could have literally, if he played the game properly on Tyneside, he could have probably done a change strip in the colours of Sports Direct and put Sports Direct across the middle as the sponsor. And all he needed to do was invest in the club, and he could have literally made millions and millions of pounds with the club, and the club could have had success, but he just never screwed his loaf on. Castori's come in for a bit of stick. I like Castoria. I like the designs. I like the shirts that they've brought out. I think they've been very smart, and since Ashley left, I've started buying replica shirts again. I always used to buy them. It's a way of supporting the club. It's putting money into the club. But when Ashley came in and what he was doing, it was a self-imposed ban on buying strips. I didn't want to do it. But Castoria have come in, and they've come in with some criticism, and the criticism they've got is only right. It seems to have been an issue with supply and demand. There hasn't been enough shirts. There hasn't been enough sizes. And gradually, the delivery time has been poor. The strips as well seem to have gone out to certain retailers and not others. So you've had a ludicrous situation where people have gone to the club shop to buy a large, an extra large, a medium, whatever, and they just haven't had the sizes in, and there's been a delay. And that's forced fans to either buy from other outlets, or to go down that route of going to places like Thailand and China, and going to less scrupulous suppliers, shall we say, and buying replicas, and that's not good. Yeah. That's not good. That's not good for Newcastle United. That's not good for Castoria. So ultimately, it's no surprise to hear that Adidas have come in. We await the big news. It probably will be released after we've finished the show. So I'm sure we can have a quick chat about it on Monday. But it's exciting. It's just another step in the right direction. And the big thing is it's financial fair play, right? Something which we have to deal with. And this deal is going to be worth millions of pounds, which gives Newcastle, and the significance of it being announced on the 1st of September is it means it gives us a war chest, that Alan Oliver and John Gibson would have called it in the Evening Chronicle years ago. It gives us a war chest for January if we need it.
I've got a question for you. It comes from Pete, who's in South Shields. I guess he's a Mackem. Can you ask the mag, did he buy shirts after the Newcastle ownership slagged off the £5 shirts? I think that's a great question. That was Freddie Shepherd. Freddie Shepherd, Douglas Hall era, wasn't it?
That's a great question.
That was the fake shake. To be honest, yes, I did. I did buy a shirt, because I think that whole situation was rather bizarre. I mean, they called Shearer Mary Poppins, and it was they were laughing at Geordie saying that the shirts are made for £5 and they're selling for £40. It was a sting, wasn't it? It was a sting, and it wasn't pleasant. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, Shepherd and Hall had to step down as directors of the PLC, but they stayed on board as the owners of the club. And yeah, I still bought the shirts, and I guess you might say you're daft for doing it, but when you're a Newcastle fan, when you're a Sunderland fan, when you're a Middlesbrough fan, you're a fan, aren't you? You can't stop doing what's in your blood.
Yep. And that number again, if you want to make a comment, 0330 or 043 2002. It's a WhatsApp. You can WhatsApp us from your phone, 0330 or 043 2002. Sorry, Ry, I could tell you, you were desperate to get in.
No, I wasn't. I was just saying it was incredible. It's honestly just seeing obviously the Adidas deal go through, and it was incredible for me. It was obviously with Adidas now. It's a big moment for them. Obviously, they're now going to have the Newcastle United kit where we're looking at the face of the Champions League now in what the kit's going to look like for the next couple of seasons. And obviously, Newcastle now in the biggest stage of all, obviously, and relishing at the top of the Premier League. Most of their games are televised now. Obviously now they're going to be at the forefront of PSG game, a Borussia Dortmund game, AC Milan. You can't get bigger than that. The amount of play, stadium people in the stadium for those games and stuff like that. So it's a big moment for Adidas, and I hope they get the kit right, because they have had some shockers, as we did allude to a couple of our own. But I do think it's a very good move by Newcastle, and obviously getting some much needed funds into the financial fair play as well, into the kitty chest to help bolster hopefully in January as well.
How's this going to work, Steve? Is it Adidas are replacing Castore?
No, I mean, we'll find out today what the situation is. There's lots of rumours, lots of speculation. We assume that they're going to become the official strip sponsors in due course, but Castore, I believe, have a deal at Newcastle until 2026. So we'll find out all the details. We imagine there's some kind of soft initial launch with Adidas, and potentially they come in. We don't have a training kit sponsor. Potentially that could be the deal short term, but yeah, we'll find out. Maybe they're going to buy out Castore, and we're going to have a new strip, which will cause a lot of concern across Tyneside for those parents who probably bought their kids a new strip this season, had all the names and badges put on, only to find out that they might have a new strip. Liverpool changed strips mid-season in the past, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I think overall it will be the main strip sponsor, but short term I think it might be something else, but it's all speculation at the minute. We'll have to wait for the official announcement later today.
Okay, plenty still to talk about across the Northeast on the Northeast Footy Brekky. You can be part of it. WhatsApp us with your points, your comments, your questions for the boys. 0330 or 043 2002. We'll be right back after this. Oh, can't beat a bit of blancmange. Don't tell me. Hang on, I better press a button before we start. Oh, too late. Play more music. Get off. Morning, boys. How are you? As you can tell, the technical operations are not going down too well today. We've had a few. It's
a Friday,
and I've had sleep as well. I can't believe it. Not like yesterday. We were flawless yesterday, and I didn't have any sleep.
We were.
But there you go. Such is life. Just want to finish kits before we move on. It's interesting, you were saying 96-97 away kit was your worst for the Boro Ry. But the home strip, I loved. Because it's synonymous with Ravanelli, with Janino, with Barmby, with Higgins.
Were good.
Yeah. So just wanted to finish that one off. Where are we going next?
Well, I just want to talk about the transfer window again, Ry. And do you think that Salah is going to go to Saudi Arabia? Do you think he's going to go to Al Ittihad? Because the Saudi window is open for a further week after we close our transfer window, and there is talk of the Saudi Pro League team still being intent on bringing in Salah, and £150 million bid is imminent. And looking at the way that Salah's reacted, to being substituted, we think he's had his head turned. We think he may well go. They're willing to pay £1.5 million a week as well to Salah in wages. Liverpool, of course, still adamant that the Egyptian player's not for sale and they've got no intention of selling him. But do you think it's going to happen? And do you think that'll put Liverpool into a big spiral of that could massively affect them, couldn't it?
Oh, definitely. Can you imagine Klopp's reaction if Salah goes, "Yep, sorry, boss, I'm on the way out"? Because I mean, it's a record-shattering bid. You know what I mean? Let's not. Saudi Arabia have been coming in for all types of players this transfer window with absolutely incredible amounts of money. We've obviously seen Henderson already leave, but they would literally be leaving Liverpool in the lurch if he was to go. And obviously, with only the next 12 hours or so for Liverpool to find a replacement, plus the Saudi Arabian, like Steve said, going on for another week. You know, you could have it so that Salah leaves next week, and there's nothing Liverpool can do to replace him. Nothing at all. The window is shut for us, and it's so incredible to me that other leagues around the world don't have the same deadline day as us. Obviously, it's up to their jurisdiction. They're not part of the Premier League, all that sort of stuff. It's incredible, but I just think it's incredible that a week past our deadline day, players could still leave the club and not leave the club to any replacements. And you don't know. It's not like Salah's going to come in and say, "Yep, right, next Thursday, Mr. Klopp, I'm going to be out of here." He doesn't know. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's 129 million. Not that they can do anything with it until January, but it would be leaving Liverpool in the absolute lurch. And I think if you were Klopp, you would be so angry and so upset.
You know, I've got no sympathy at all for Jurgen Klopp. No sympathy at all.
We saw it.
I hope they leave it to the last minute.
Newcastle, yeah.
And I hope Salah drops them right in the clots. And I hope that Klopp is grinding those turkey teeth next Thursday as he loses his star forward and he's got no way of doing anything about it.
Steve's not bitter. Don't worry.
Anything.
Steve's not bitter.
He would be dirty though. Klopp. When we saw Klopp take digs last week at Newcastle after the win, the money and the Saudi Arabia, you can tell he's got a bee in his bonnet about it. And I think probably from the Henderson thing, we've obviously seen, not that he was his player, but Sane go there as well. So it's incredible to see that it is going. They could lose Mo Salah next week after the window's shut. And what do Liverpool do? I mean, that's when you have to have the good academies, the good youngsters coming through, because that's all he can turn to. But if they lose Salah next week after the window's shut, can you imagine? Oh my goodness! I don't know if Klopp. I would argue Klopp would probably not last the rest of the season because he'd be that dirty.
Yeah. A quick message coming from Sal, who's in Horton. She's obviously referencing Sunderland when it comes to transfer business. Just asking what's going on. Stewart, goal scorer from last season. Roberts, one of our best players this season, heading out of the club. I know we chatted earlier, but it sounds like the fans are getting a little bit concerned too.
Yeah. Steve and I have been talking about it behind the doors as well. It's incredible. Yeah. We've just seen this morning that Southampton have made the bid. 5 million for Sunderland winger Patrick Roberts, and it's about 3 million with 2 million in add-ons. And then obviously we got Ross Stewart as well. Both have their their contracts up in the summer. And then you've got Gooch as well, looking like he's agreed to go to Stoke City. So I mean, to lose on deadline day, Ross Stewart, Patrick Roberts, Lyndon Gooch, and Jack Clark, I still feel so badly for Jack Clark in this whole situation. He must be fuming because he was refused to transfer. Because they said that the money that wasn't right and he wasn't allowed to leave, it would leave the club too short. And yet on deadline day, you can go and let Lyndon Gooch leave, Ross Stewart leave, and then you obviously leave Patrick Roberts as well. That is incredible mismanagement from the Sunderland ownership. And if they are, the rumours are that the ownership are just doing Mogga a distrust. And obviously as a Mogga being a Middlesbrough legend, it's terrible to look across. And if Sunderland end today without Patrick Roberts, without Ross Stewart, without Lyndon Gooch, without Jack Clark, my word, they're in trouble.
There's a deal collapsed as we're on air. Bella Kotchap is going to stay at Southampton. His Dortmund moves collapsed. I mean, I'm not sure what's gone on there. That there isn't any there isn't any update as to why. But I mean, again, when deals collapse, other deals can collapse. It depends on the finance of Southampton. I mean, you just don't know. That's the beauty of transfer deadline day. That's why we all get hooked by it. That's why we all sit by our TVs, radios, or whatever, and watch it because somebody going for a medical. As we saw with Isaac Hayden at Luton earlier this week, doesn't always mean that the player's going to go. So Sunderland fans who will be sitting on the edge of the sofa biting their nails at the minute may well have a reprieve on one player or two players. You just don't know, especially with them being linked with Southampton. We'll have to watch that.
He's a centre-back though, isn't he?
He is, yeah, but it depends on the finances of the club, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Southampton have obviously managed to offload a few. I mean, I dare say they've got a few quid in the back pocket to spend.
Yeah,
but you just never know. And medicals are funny. I mean, we had that infamous story years ago about John Beresford going to Liverpool, and he failed his medical. Keegan then got him to Newcastle, and John Beresford came, and he was very honest. He said to Kevin Keegan, he said, "Look, Kevin, you know, thanks for inviting us down, but you know, I failed me medical at Liverpool." And he says, "Oh, don't worry." He says, we've got Paul Bracewell here, and he says, if he can pass a medical, you can pass yours, John." And that, you know, it all just depends. It all just depends on who's managing the club and who's dealing with things. And if a manager wants you, he wants you. He's not going to be too bothered about what you've had in the past. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Sunderland might bring 1 or 2 in, but it doesn't look likely at the moment.
It doesn't look likely.
It's
a bit of a worry.
Bela Kotchap, by the way, Steve, has done the rounds in Germany, but he hasn't been to Dortmund. Just to tie in the Champions League. There you go.
Yeah, we'll be
talking to the Champions League.
In the Champions League.
Yeah, we did. We saw the rumours as well, obviously, on one in Kylian Mbappe, and I think that's one that we're going to have to watch today as well, because the rumours are out of Spain, and obviously it's out of Spain, so take this with a grain of salt. But there is a potential of Mbappe heading to Real Madrid. Obviously, there was a talk that of all summer that PSG effectively kicked Mbappe out of their squad, but that all went pretty quiet, and the French striker was then back in the fold, and there was, but he's still yet to sign the extension on the contract. And PSG didn't seem to be too worried that Mbappe would be leaving, but the rumours are that by the close of business today, obviously Spain closed their transfer window tonight as well, that there will be a formidable bid from Real Madrid for Kylian Mbappe. So it could be Newcastle v PSG without Kylian Mbappe on the other thing if he does go to Real Madrid. So that's one to watch for me as well, because the rumours I'm led to believe for Mbappe from Real Madrid are to be quite serious.
Careful, Ry. Steve's frothing now. He's thinking. Yeah. He's thinking we've got a chance. We've got a chance.
Maybe I just made all that up to get Mbappe out of the squad. There you go. The radio station is now creating transfers to help Steve in Newcastle. Look at us go.
We've still got an opportunity in that group. Mbappe or no Mbappe, I'm not worried about him. He'll be worried about War Flags' display and the cauldron of noise he's going to face at St James's Park.
Love it. Yeah, love it. We might as well have a look through the Champions League draw. Group A: Bayern Munich, Man United, Copenhagen, Galatasaray. So that's Group A. That's United's group. Group B: Sevilla, Arsenal, PSV, and Lens.
Not bad.
Yeah, not a bad group for Arsenal. No. Group C: Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga, Union Berlin. So we'll definitely be seeing Real Madrid progress from that one.
Yep.
Group D: Benfica, Inter, Salzburg, and Sociedad. Yeah, I mean, there could be some decent groups to be had here. Group E is the interesting one. We mentioned it earlier for Celtic. Feyenoord, Atletico Madrid, Lazio, and Celtic. I don't see Celtic progressing. I've got to be honest.
No. Yeah, it's a tough group for Celtic, obviously, getting grouped with against Atletico Madrid and obviously Lazio and Feyenoord as well. That is a big group for Celtic, and unfortunately I don't also see Celtic getting out of that one. But let's go. Let's hear it. Group F. Just sit down if you're a Newcastle fan and soak this in, because your club is about to be mentioned with these next clubs. Paris Saint-Germain, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, and Newcastle United. Can you believe it? I can't.
That is
a group.
Go on, Steve.
Yeah, I can't believe it. That is
Group
F.
Is four
Group
of
F
the. Is not the group.
Okay, I'm going to say it's 3 of the biggest clubs in the world, and then Newcastle. I take it back, Steve. I love you. But it is incredible.
Uno Greaves said we're going to win the group, right?
It is an incredible group, and if Newcastle can get out of that group, what an effort that would be to take on PSG, and that's what I'm looking forward to now. It's the nights of seeing Newcastle PSG. Newcastle AC Milan, the return of Tonali. It creates stories amazingly around the world. And here it is, the champions get it into you. Group F.
Breathe it in, Geordies, breathe it in.
Oh, the music.
It's fantastic, that.
It's going to be blasting out across St James's Park, Steve. Are the hairs standing yet? Sorry, on the back of your neck.
Oh, my goodness.
On the back of my neck.
Listen to it.
What a tune.
It's like a Carabao Cup.
I wonder how many Newcastle fans have got this as their ringtone. I don't have it as my ringtone. I've got it for my missus's ringtone because she is Champions League.
Oh, it has to be. For Newcastle fans around the world, it has to be your ringtone. What a group. What a return.
I've never heard it in its entirety, actually.
In its entirety, me neither.
Well, it builds.
It doesn't quite have the same effect. I feel like I'm at Charles and Di's wedding.
Oh, here it goes.
Oh, here we go.
It's the crescendo.
Brilliant.
We're late for the news, but we've got to let it finish. Here it goes. Paris Saint-Germain.
Here it is.
Dortmund. AC Milan. Newcastle.
Dan Burn.
We'll probably get sued left, right and centre for broadcasting it, but it was just for you, Steve.
Probably.
There you go, mate. There you go.
Bravo.
Happy with that?
Fantastic, lads. Yeah, brilliant. What a great way
before the news.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great wake up for a Newcastle fan. Group G, obviously Man City, Leipzig from Germany, Red Star Belgrade, and Young Boys. Obviously, Man City walk that group. If they don't, they're incredibly going to fall short. And then obviously Group H, Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar Donetsk, and Royal Antwerp. So another decent group there for Barcelona. We look for match day 1, September the 19th and 20th. Obviously not very far away from Newcastle in match day 1. And who will they get? Oh, let's hope. I'm hoping PSG at Newcastle, match day 1, September the 19th. Oh, I can't wait.
Steve's
Brilliant.
gone quiet.
Great
He's
stuff.
stunned. He's absolutely stunned.
I am just listening to Ry, getting more enthusiastic than me now, which is great. He's caught the Champions League bug.
Yeah, you've got to be careful, Ry.
Champions League,
Ry,
mate.
you've got to be careful, mate. You've got to be careful. Come on,
Okay,
Teesside will disown you if you get too excited.
I think you heard me in there. I said the Carabao Cup's bigger than the Champions League.
Oh yeah, I did hear that.
The Carabao
yes.
Cup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And then Newcastle we got the wrong ball, please, Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? It's the Carabao Cup. You know what I mean?
We haven't even got onto that yet about how they fixed the draw to kick us out of the cup by giving us Man City.
We'll do that after the news, but I'd just like to leave you with one little comparison. You know, Parc des Princes, Paris Saint-Germain, Paris, Oakwell, Barnsley, Boro, Carabao Cup. Think about
Exactly.
it. Think about it. Oh, hang on, we don't want music. Oh, it's all gone to pot again, fellas. It's all gone to pot.
No!
We're good. We can fix it.
On DAB radio, online and smart speakers. This is The Tune, The Cat, The Red News. From Wickham to Whitley Bay, Stonygate to Shields, Doggy to Darlow Backlane. Steve and Ry, the North East Footy Breakfast.
Right across the northeast, the red, the tune, and the cat.
Hey, I did it, fellas. I pressed the right buttons coming out of the news. Makes a change.
Practice makes perfect, Dave. Practice makes perfect.
That's it. You know,
does.
Learn from your mistakes, and there've been plenty. So, let's get on with it then. So, we've done Champions League. I'm sure we'll touch on it before you leave at 8:30, Steve, again. But, you know, the all-important, the all-consuming, the far more in-front subject matter of the Carabao Cup.
Dodgy draws.
Dodgy
it's a dodgy
draws.
draw.
Your balls
It should be redrawn.
Mate, your balls were dodgy.
What's happened?
Your balls were dodgy.
It should be redrawn. Newcastle United were the wrong number in the draw, so all of this draw is void. Cancel it. There's no games being played. Get the whole thing cancelled. We shouldn't be playing Man City. It's an absolute joke. How on earth can you cock it up? We were talking yesterday about it being £100,000 to win it, which is, let's face it, it's a tin pot trophy now, isn't it? Compared to the Champions League,
just because they're going out in the next round.
Now they can't even get somebody to pull the balls out properly. It's a joke.
So the backstory
for those
to
that
this,
don't know, I was going to say the backstory.
The backstory is Newcastle were ball number 20 in the draw, and following the draw, the EFL's come out and said they made a wrong allocation of Newcastle's position with the ball, so they shouldn't have been ball number 20. So I suppose there is a slight argument, but I won't accept it, that Newcastle shouldn't have been hosting Man City in the next round.
No.
Yeah,
they should have been ahead of Norwich, so it should have been done in alphabetical order, so that's how it does. And obviously Norwich and Newcastle, you can do the alphabet at home, but Newcastle should have been in ball number 19 rather than 20. So it's incredible that the EFL even came out and said it, but obviously they needed to acknowledge it because everyone could tell that the names do go down in alphabetical order, and obviously Newcastle should have been 19. It's incredible to see that you could cock that up. I don't know how you've done it, EFL, but you had one job, put Newcastle in the right one, and now you made. I swear there's someone behind the scenes there going, you know what, Newcastle Man City, can you imagine that? Let's do it.
I think it's somebody controlling the computers at Mackem. I think that's where it is.
Well, there's definitely something not right. I mean, the EFL were quick to come out after a Newcastle fan on Twitter had highlighted the error, and then they come out and apologise afterwards. But they called it a small mess up. I mean, what a small mess up.
Who would you
put
have
us in against the treble winners?
Who did Norwich get?
We would have had Fulham
away.
Oh,
yeah, Fulham away.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a big difference,
from
lads.
Man City, at home to Fulham away. So it's huge difference, and it's money. It's like we said, even though it's not much, you know what I mean? If for progression into the next round, you would argue that Man City go into that game favourites, against whoever they played. You know what I mean? And it's obviously, Newcastle have got a full fixture list at the moment now, obviously with Champions League as well. And they've cocked it up. They've put them in the wrong spot. They should have had Fulham away, and now Norwich get to obviously travel to Fulham, which is good for Norwich, obviously Championship versus Premier League. But, we could have seen Norwich v Man City. And very tricky game. And then obviously now, Man City versus Newcastle, and the EFL just straight onto it. Yep, sorry guys, don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Imagine the Champions League comes out tomorrow and goes, sorry guys, it wasn't Newcastle in Group F.
Well, did you watch the Champions League draw? Did you watch the Champions League draw? I mean, did you watch the start of it where there was this guy having to read the full rules and regs as to how they actually get to the final draw?
Yep.
And I'm not being funny, I put a tweet out about it. How on earth anybody could remember that? I put a tweet out asking, can anybody just explain what all of that was about? Because I've got no idea. I mean, you're just nodding your head going, well, I guess we've got to trust you because you've made it so complicated. I've got no idea how on earth how you've sorted all this out, because it's got something to do with the television rights, and we can't put you in this pot, we'll put you in that pot. It just sounds as if it just sounded crazy. It did, but at least we've got a draw, which I guess nobody can ever criticise or question, because we've got no idea how they come to the conclusion that we should all be in those groups.
Yeah, true.
Sorry,
I love the EFL statement. I love the EFL statement here. Sorry to cut you off, Dave, but I love the EFL statement here that the league accepts that the list published was not in alphabetical order. However, under cup rules, okay, we're going to defend ourselves here, the draw does not require for numbers, even though we've been doing it for years, to be allocated on that basis, as it is demonstrated by those teams who progressed on Wednesday night. As a result, the EFL views that the draw is completely valid with no impact to competition integrity. That is the line from the EFL.
Yeah. I love it. It just all plays into the vision I had yesterday on this very show, which is the stars are aligned. We had to get Newcastle out of the tournament. All the Premier League clubs that are going to do battle in the next round, eliminating each other, and there's Boro just looking at the likes of Lincoln City and Salford on the way to Wembley. It's going to be a Boro Man City final, I'm telling you.
You just keep
we're going to win the whole thing.
You keep having that dream, lads. You keep having that dream.
Yeah, and you'll just keep talking about the Champions League. I know. We've got a few games ahead of us, actually, haven't we? Which we need to talk about before Steve, drops his microphone like a petulant actor on stage, and out he goes off
he's
stage.
He's probably off to AC Milan for something, or he's obviously going to go pick his seat in the San Siro or something. I swear.
Well, this is it. We have got Champions League on my mind, but we are back to league business. We are back to league business this weekend. In Premier League business. That is not Champions, not the Championship. We've got Newcastle's trip to the Amex Stadium.
Only because of the Saudi money.
Big game.
Yes, because of the Saudi money, and it is the home of Brighton and Hove Albion. And this isn't a happy hunting ground for Newcastle United, unfortunately. This will be Newcastle attempting to win their first away game against Brighton in the Premier League at the 7th attempt. Our previous 6 visits have brought 4 draws, 2 defeats and 2 goals scored. But there is a chink of light in this fixture. We did play them in pre-season. Back in July in the USA in the Summer Series in New Jersey, and we did manage to get a 2-1 win. And Eddie Howe, listen to this, Elliot Anderson scored both goals. Might be a little bit of food for thought with no formation at the weekend. The other big thing for Newcastle fans, of course, is that 3,000 away tickets. We were talking about this yesterday, how loyal Newcastle, Sunderland and Boro fans are on the road. All 3,000 away tickets have been sold. But I would like to reiterate this, and I've done this across many of the platforms that I'm on. Just remember, if you're a Newcastle fan going to the game, remember to take your ID, photo ID, because tickets are being checked. And if you've decided to transfer your ticket, taking that gamble of transferring your ticket to somebody else because you can't make the game, I would think again, because if you are caught, there are going to be ID checks at the turnstiles at the away end. If you are caught, you run the risk of getting yourself into trouble with the club, having your loyalty points that you've accrued taken off you, and of course if you've been caught once and you do it again, you could have your season ticket removed. That's the situation away fans find themselves in at the moment. Eddie Howe's press conference, of course, is a little bit later this morning, so I don't have any great updates on team news, but I can tell you that Joe Willock and Emil Kraft remain unavailable due to their injuries. Sven Botman and Joe Linton are the ones that we're sweating on, of course. Joe Linton and Sven Botman both carrying little knocks, and we're expecting Botman may miss this game, get himself ready over the international break and be back for the Brentford game or the Champions League game, whichever comes first. As for Brighton, Moda and Espinola are both out for Brighton, but transfer deadline day may see one or two players come in at Brighton. So big news there. Stuart Atwell's refereeing. He's a lucky ref for us. From our perspective, we were unbeaten in all 4 games that he took charge of in both Premier League and League Cup last season. And on VAR, which I think should be banned, is Darren Bond. So that is my match update for this weekend. What's Boro up to, Ry?
Well, Middlesbrough obviously have QPR in the Championship. We're coming off a very big Carabao Cup win, obviously Carabao Cup being bigger than the Champions League, and Middlesbrough are going to take that form, hopefully, against QPR this weekend. Obviously, QPR having a new life under Gareth Ainsworth, not to the best of starts are QPR, and Middlesbrough hoping now with a couple of deadline transfers yesterday that we can take some form into the thing. Obviously, Middlesbrough currently languishing in 22nd, QPR in 19th, and we see us back in the Championship, hopefully, and praying for a win because we desperately need it. We need to get out of that relegation area now and start putting some points in the board in Championship. It's still early in the season. There's a long road in the Championship. We talk about that every day, but it is starting to get to the point now where we do need to at least try and get a draw, try and get some points. QPR have obviously already had a win this season, but they are obviously 1 win and 3 losses, and obviously Middlesbrough now just the 1 draw and 3 losses. So both clubs not doing the best, but hoping for a decent result for the Borough this weekend, hoping to see some of these new signings into the fray as well. I think we might see as well the 4-3-3 used, which is incredible because we haven't seen a different formation from Michael Carrick in his whole tenure until the very first time against Bolton in the World Cup. In the World Cup. It's kind of like the World Cup. Yeah. It's kind of like the World Cup.
Bigger than the Champions League, that's what you mean.
If you win the Carabao Cup, it's basically like winning the World Cup, but we'll get onto that later. And we got Middlesbrough obviously back at home at the Riverside as well, so I'm really excited for that. And really hoping for a big result for the Borough because it's something that we need to start doing in the Championship is putting some points on the board. And interesting as well to see tonight.
Go on.
I'm saying
Sorry to
Sunderland.
cut you off, but yeah.
Yeah, Sunderland have got Southampton, mate, at home.
They do in the week kick-off of 12:30. Yep. So,
yeah,
and that's going to be interesting to watch as well, because it looks like, it looks like Southampton are going to field half of Sunderland players the way it's going as well after the end of today. So it will be interesting to see if Southampton line up with, the likes of Ross Stewart who have just signed, or Patrick Roberts who might even line up and pull the boots on for Southampton. So it's incredible to see what, and obviously it's a rough kickoff time for Sunderland and Southampton fans, especially obviously having to make the trip up to the northeast by that time. It'll be an early start for the Southampton fans. Obviously Sunderland at home, not to worry about that, but long trip for Southampton and the fans tomorrow morning. There'll be an early get up, and obviously with the rail strikes, as we're all well aware of, going across the UK, even tougher. So it's a tough fixture there for Southampton, but Southampton would be eagerly anticipating the full 3 points there, especially the way Sunderland have been reported over the past couple of days with the lack of transfers and obviously all the players walking out on them. So it'll be a tough weekend. I'm hoping for some points from Middlesbrough, hoping for some points for nobody else, and Middlesbrough can start climbing up that table.
I tell you who it's even rougher for. It's going to be rougher for Stewart and Roberts if they do have to travel down to Southampton. Either they have last night or they've got to do it this morning.
Yeah.
Complete medical, sign paperwork, and then travel all the way back to the Stadium of Light to pull the boots on. So yeah, it'll be a pretty rough trip for them as well, and they'll get dogs abuse from the stands, I'm absolutely sure.
Can you imagine them? Yeah. Oh, imagine being announced to the Southampton fans as the new signings at the Stadium of Light. Oh, I couldn't imagine it. Patrick Roberts and Ross Stewart, here you go, Southampton fans in front of a Sunderland home ground. I can't believe it. It's incredible.
And it is worth pointing out. It is worth pointing out we don't have a Mackem on this morning, so we need a Mackem. We're looking for a Sunderland fan, male, female, old, young, whatever it is, as long as you're confident. Get on here. Join the show, join the banter, and big up Sunderland. We want you to big up Sunderland.
Start defending your club.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'd love to see us.
I mean, we've had
Sunderland have also made an announcement about their digital ticketing this week, and that's that if you've got a season ticket but you can't go to the game, you can now log on to their e-ticketing account system and do what you can do with the Newcastle season ticket. You can forward your season ticket. It doesn't give us any other details other than you can do that. They have to be registered to your friends and family network on the system. But it's an important announcement that for Sunderland fans. If you haven't done it already and you can't make the game but you want somebody to go, make sure you've got somebody added to your family and friends network. And then there's actually a link on Twitter, but also on their website. If you go to it on ticketing information, and it's a video and it takes you through it. But lots of clubs going to digital this season, and you need to make it as easy as possible because not everybody is tech savvy in the support.
No, and on that as well, just to carry on, obviously Middlesbrough as well, just a message for the Boro fans that this weekend is the last chance for you to get your 2023-24 season card. So it does end this weekend, and a big announcement that there'll be no half-season cards available this time around. So Middlesbrough going away from what they've normally done, offering half-season cards. They're just saying that, this will be the last weekend and that's it. So if you are looking to get a season card for the Boro, this will be the last weekend and there will be no half-season cards available. So a little bit of uproar about that on the X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But it is what it is. And I can't seem to work out why they're not offering the half-season, but I'm guessing it's, obviously, we sell 17 to 19K season cards and then obviously probably a little bit less than that come Christmas for a half-season card. But yeah, the club's not, really said why. But yeah, just as a Boro fan, if you are looking to get a season card, this will be the last weekend you can do that.
One thing I'd like to pick up on regarding tickets is here we are talking about the electronic ticketing and you being able to transfer your ticket on a match day. Yet in the same breath, just before that, we were talking about Newcastle fans getting tickets for the game checked. And if you're going to be swapping your tickets, giving them to a mate, you've got no chance. Why is there a difference?
Well, there's not at home. The home games are exactly the same. If you've got somebody on your friends and family, then you can swap your ticket over. But I'm going to have a look at the Sunderland because I've only just clicked onto this Sunderland announcement now. I wonder whether they've gone down the same route as Newcastle. You're allowed to, swap your ticket with somebody who's on your friends and family list. However, if you do it 10 times, it'll be flagged up in the system, and your account would be reported, and you could have an issue with your account. Away games are completely different. At this moment in time, away games for Newcastle fans, you can't transfer your away ticket. That is my understanding. You basically, if you are going to buy a ticket for an away game, you have to go to the away game. At this moment in time, you can't transfer that to anybody in your friends and family group. So that is why they're being quite strict on away games and checking for ID. I thought they'd done something which, they're obviously not going to do something which is illegal, but I thought it was a little bit naughty what they did. They actually created some fake tickets, Newcastle United, last week. For the last away game, and they put them out to. They sent out some fake away tickets to fans to test the system. So basically, they announced that they were doing it. They put these fake tickets out, and then some Newcastle fans turned up at the turnstile only to be told that their ticket was fake, and they had to go to the box office. They then went to the box office, and when they went to the box office at the Etihad, they were given their correct tickets in exchange. So those people didn't have any issues because they were the right people. But it was Newcastle just checking the system, and anybody who is found to have bought an away ticket, gained a loyalty point, and then passed it on to a friend to go to the game will literally have their loyalty points completely reduced down to zero. So that's a warning. And then if you do it again, if you buy another away ticket and give it, it's unlikely you'll be able to get an away ticket with points down to zero. But if you do manage to get one, and you pass it on again, then you can have your season ticket removed. So some strict rules coming into place, some Big Brother type rules coming into place at Newcastle. It's upset a lot of the supporters. A lot of the away fans aren't happy because a lot of us have all done that in the past, bought tickets and passed them on to people. But it'd be interesting to hear what the system is at Sunderland for away games.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to ask the question, why? Why this restriction on away tickets? I don't know. Is it security? Is it fan safety? Is it, I don't know, to overcome some sort of fraud on tickets?
I think the home stuff, I think digital ticketing at home is down to clubs wanting to stop ticket touts outside the ground and to stop people buying tickets and selling them for an extreme rate. That completely failed for the Liverpool game. There were tickets for the Liverpool-Newcastle game at St James's Park last weekend on sale on ticket sites for £250. So that has failed miserably. For me personally, for away games, I think they're trying to gentrify the support. I think they are trying to get rid of the working class fan. They're trying to get rid of the lads and ladettes from football. And this isn't just Newcastle. This is across the board with this ticket, this e-ticketing and digital ticketing scheme. And I think they're gently trying to change the face of football. I think what they'd love, even though away supporters are necessary to create an atmosphere in the ground, I think they'd love stadiums in 25 years' time in England to be like those in America. I think that baseball and the American football crowds full of families eating popcorn and drinking pop and cheering on the team, and I think that's what they want. And they want people who support the other teams to be sitting back home watching it on the TV and paying for it.
I think as well they want to get rid of those people out there that are copying Steve Wraith's photo and going into Steve Wraith, okay? No, we're on to you, all right? You fake Steve Wraith. There's only one Steve Wraith and you can't be using his photo to get into the grounds anymore, all right? So we're on to you guys. But it's incredible. And obviously, look, for me, the scalpers obviously are the ones that we are trying to target, but we need to do it in a way where it doesn't affect the away fans. It doesn't away the ones that are being genuine and actually using and paying well and stuff like that. But we want to get rid of the scalpers, the ones that are out there offering £300 for a ticket to sit in row F, section 63G sort of thing. So we want to make sure that they're not out there doing that. But I think that in the same light, you have to be very careful that you're not affecting the actual paying customer sort of thing. So
Steve, on the away tickets, what happens if a Newcastle fan buys a ticket and then genuinely something happens, medical appointment, work call them in, and they can't go? Is there any way they can resell officially?
Well, obviously at home again, your home tickets. If you don't have everybody and your friends and family, you can resell. You can use Newcastle's resell app. Obviously they give you the cost of the ticket, and if they sell it for a higher price, they take the profit. You know, which again, you know, you can't blame the club for trying to make money, but you know, again, that leaves a sour taste in people's mouths. Away tickets, again, there isn't anything to do with that. That they are asking fans for feedback. People like the Supporters Trust, Newcastle United Supporters Club, the unofficial groups who contact the club are putting out surveys, questionnaires to try and get fans' feelings on this. They're feeding it back to the club, so I would imagine we will see some change with away tickets. But I'll update people as you know, when we know what's happening, because at the moment it is a bit of a mess, the away ticket scenario, and it is affecting people. And fans are getting a little bit irate about it, and that's what I'm saying. You know, everything on the surface with our takeover is rosy, but you've always got to remember that people don't like change, and there is going to be change, and change is happening now. And you know, when it's ticketing, it's the one thing that upsets fans. You've got to do it properly, you've got to get it right. But I think the communication between the club and the supporters groups and supporters per se, season ticket holders, etc., well, it's so much better than it ever has been. So I think we'll get there in the end. But at the moment, no. You know, if something happens to you, you wasted your money buying an away ticket, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think it's worth. I think what we might do is we might reach out to Boro and Sunderland as well to clarify what the tickets, particularly the away ticket situation, is like in terms of them. You know, in the Championship, are there these checks? Do you have to have ID? All that, just to clarify. Yeah, absolutely.
I think as well we need to importantly, I just want to quickly, before we do leave Steve Wraith, he does have to go early today, I wanted to thank Steve for an amazing first week of the Northeast Brekky Show. That's our first week.
Well done. Fantastic.
Done. What an amazing first week, and I've absolutely loved it joining you, Steve, obviously Dave, and obviously thank you to Macca and Michael that have come in, and obviously we're still looking for that Sunderland fan, but I think it's been a great first week of the Breakfast Footy Show. I think it's a show that's going to start filling the car stereos of the morning. If you haven't got us on, then you're absolutely crazy, because Steve and I are coming live to you Monday to Friday, every day now, and I think look, we've put together a pretty good show, and it was a great first week, Steve.
It was been fantastic. Big thanks to Dave as well, because he got us on board. It's been a great week, and Dave does all the technical stuff, getting out of bed early to do it. That's part of it. But make sure. If you've got a band as well, get your music in, because I've reached out to a couple of my friends who I think I'll get on the show. But if you've got a band, a young up and coming band, or a mate's band, or you know somebody's band, get the MP3 across to Dave. Dave will give the emails out, I'm sure. And we'd love to hear from local bands, because we want to.
Get texting on the WhatsApp as well. We love to hear from you on the WhatsApp as well. More Boro fans as well, please. I need more questions about the Boro. Not so much of this Newcastle Sunderland business, okay? I want to hear from the Boro fans on the WhatsApp. All right, talking about how the Carabao Cup, agreeing with me that the Champions League is behind the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
And I want to hear from you. But amazing first week, and a big thank you to Stephen. I'm really looking forward to the show and the direction it's going to be heading in. And I think once we obviously land that Sunderland third person to create the banter, to create complete the show, I think we're going to have a great run.
And we'll give all the contact details out after we've had a bit of music, because James Copley from the Sunderland Echo is going to be joining us next. But Steve, just for you, mate, I want to leave with a bit of this, okay?
Get in, lads. Have a great weekend, lads. Take care.
All right, mate.
Have a great one, Steve.
Take care. Yep, Steve's off to the San Siro already to stake his claim for a seat. So
he's choosing his seat.
That's why he's leaving early. There you go. Right, James Copley, Sunderland Echo. We can talk some Sunderland stuff with a man who has got his finger on the Stadium of Light pulse. We'll be doing that next. Oh, I haven't heard that in yonks. Yonks and yonks and yonks.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Dancing with tears in my eyes. Showing my age now. Actually, you gave your date of birth earlier. I did.
I'm a 35-year-old, yeah. Wow. I'm a 88 boy, so 35 years old. I tell you what, I got more grey hairs than most of them around my age, though, because
that's because you're a Boro
I've got that gene where, the greys set in early, but I'm 35 and, still raring to go. Still a lot of life in me yet, I think, Dave, But, you're right. The Boro do tend to knock a few years out of you, don't they?
Yeah, they do,
some
indeed.
Of the performances.
You're a young pup, because I remember, this is how old I am, I remember going, geez, millennium. Yeah, the year 2000. when we get to the millennium, I will be 35. So there you go. Yeah. Wow, won't I be old? Some news. James Copley completely forgot about what he was what he was going to do this morning. He's out running.
Mackem.
He's getting ready for the Great North Run. I think he's doing the Great North. I think it's the Great North Run he's doing. So he's out running all the time, and
good on him.
I think it's so busy being a Sunderland reporter at the moment. It was brain fart time, and he just completely forgot about doing that this morning. So look, if he stops sweating and stops breathing heavily, because you can't put anybody in who breathes heavily on the radio. No, we'll get him on, but we'll see. So he's out running at the moment, so hopefully we'll talk Sunderland with the Sunderland Echoes man very soon. But it is interesting, no Sunderland reporter, no Sunderland presenter, and the only comments have been, what the hell's happening with our football club this morning? So
I mean,
tells the tale.
There's more questions. Yeah, there's more questions than answers coming under Sunderland at the moment, and when it would have been exciting, obviously, to have a question about that. But honestly, look, Sunderland fans, they must be sweating, and obviously get in on the WhatsApp and let us know how you're feeling, because we don't have any Sunderland representation here. We're obviously me, the mad Middlesbrough fan. We've got Steve, obviously, who's just left us in Newcastle. But we need some love for Sunderland. I want to know what's going on with the club, how you guys are feeling on deadline day, because I tell you, if I was a Mackem, which, thankfully I'm not, I'd be absolutely very, very scared, because it looks like you're about to lose 3, maybe 4 players today. And it doesn't look like there's anyone coming in to replace those. And they're all starting 11 players as well. So it's a big, big day for Sunderland, leading into their early kickoff tomorrow against Southampton as well. It looks like the players are going to shirt up for. So it's a big day in the Sunderland world, and look, I'm very, very, very nervous if I was a Sunderland fan going in today, because my goodness, do you need some good news by the end of today? And if it's not, then do you think, Dave, it leaves Mogga in an even more tumultuous place come Monday?
Yeah. I mean, this is what I can't subscribe to is something was mentioned earlier about, are they doing this to get rid of Mogga? I can't see a football club selling players, causing the grief that's going to cause potentially.
That's the rumour,
unless they've got some absolutely world class signings that they're about to announce in the next few hours. But I can't see a club doing that. It is biting off the hand that feeds you if they're going to do that just to get rid of Mogga. Yeah. So I can't see that is the reason why. But geez, if you were Mogga, you've spent the summer. Well, you went into the summer hearing that the club's talking to other managers, which immediately think, what on earth's going on?
After getting a playoff berth as well. Yep.
And it was Michael, wasn't it, yesterday? He begrudgingly admitted that Sunderland overachieved last year. It was a fantastic season for Sunderland last year. I mean, being able to beat the Boro as well, it was obviously icing on the cake for them. The mighty Boro. But no, I mean, Mogga this morning, if he's walking into the training ground and he's hearing that the likes of Lyndon Gooch, Patrick Roberts and Ross Stewart could all be leaving today, and they've not really, they lost Diallo, of course, he went back to Manchester United. That was expected, and he could probably cater for that. I'm sure he's scratching his head this morning and going,
I'll be interesting
why
today.
Am I here? Why am I here?
Yeah. I mean, the only good news they've really had in the past week or so is that 09's agreed the new deal. That's been about it, though. All the rest has been, will Mogga leave, will not Mogga leave, and and then obviously all these players saying they're unhappy and don't want to play for Sunderland anymore.
Yeah.
And it was incredible to see Mogga come in after Alex Neil and get into the playoffs, and now it looks like they're they're destined for such a tough season with all these players, and it beggars to believe how it's all gone wrong after a playoff season. And I can't say much from being a Middlesbrough fan, obviously, where we're languishing, but at least there's hope at Middlesbrough with the new signings. It's been a big rebuild, I would argue, for Middlesbrough, obviously losing all those loan signings. It looks like we've learned from our mistakes as well in only getting the 2 loan signings in this summer. Not sure if there'll be any signings today. We're hoping for Alex Bangura, the left back. But I think we've learnt there that the loan signings aren't the answer, but we've obviously gotten 2 in Lewis O'Brien and Sam Greenwood as well. But I think it's look, if you're looking over at Sunderland, you've got to think Middlesbrough are doing okay with the players we've been able to bring in to replace the likes of your Cameron Archers, your Tuber Akpoms, and even Aaron Ramsey and stuff like that. Did you see also, Dave, that Aaron Ramsey was injured in his first game for Burnley?
Ah, really? I didn't see that. Missed that.
Yeah, he went down, in the cup. So he played in the cup game for Burnley, obviously, in his debut. He's just announced, obviously, a 13 mil signing from Aston Villa. Obviously, Middlesbrough fans will be very, very very well adverse to Aaron Ramsey, and obviously he had an injury hit last season. He was actually injured at Norwich when having to return to Aston Villa, and that was the way Middlesbrough were able to poach him on deadline day in January, and then obviously played a few games for the Boro and then got injured as well and missed the end of our season. So I hope it isn't an injury-ravaged season for the boy. I think he's got a bright future, but my goodness, if he's gone down again, I think Burnley are sweating on the details of the injury now, but it was a shame to see Aaron Ramsey again injured for Burnley in his debut. So
it's not been the best
to watch there.
Yeah, it's not been the best start for the ex-Boro players, is it? Because you've got the likes of Archer, went to Sheffield United. They were embarrassed in the cup during the week. Giles says the fans are turning on him already, saying he's not what they thought they were getting. And now Ramsey with injuries, so it's not been the best. By the way, we've had Mackem. We've had Mac again in touch, the Sunderland fan who's been on the show a few times. Good old Macca. He's having a listen on the megabus coming back from Birmingham. He says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Just on my way back from Birmingham, really disappointed about what's going on. There seems to be a mass exodus at Sunderland. I'm not looking forward to transfer deadline day today. Definitely not looking forward to the match tomorrow. But he will still be there because it's just what you do."
I mean, you're a fan. Yeah, you're a fan through and through, no matter what what's going on, behind the scenes, aren't you? It's the club, it's the club you love, and whether they sell all the players and leave you with nothing or they bring in the big signings, it's through thick and thin, isn't it? But at the moment, you've got to argue that it's quite, it's the thick times at the moment because it's scary. It's very scary. I mean, if to end the day without Ross Stewart, Patrick Roberts, and Lyndon Gooch, and then my biggest question, and I wish, I could sit down with Mogga. But I think the biggest thing for me is what happens with Jack Clark, because Jack Clark was refused to transfer earlier in the transfer window. They said you need to get 10 million or more. He got an offer for around 12, I believe. Sunderland turned it down and said, "No, Jack, you're an important part of what we're building here at Sunderland." And then they go and let these three players leave. It's you must be fuming if you were Jack.
No, absolutely. And, the knock-on effect of, they might lose 3, they might lose 1 of Gooch, Roberts and Stewart today.
Yeah.
Then you've got Jack Clark, who is so annoyed. Is he going to be performing at his best?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a move in it. I don't think there's a move in it for him today.
But I don't think there is either.
When he pulls the shirt on and runs out at the weekend, is he going to be at his best? Because he's going to be full of it. He's going to be...
He'd be fuming.
Yeah, absolutely. Why am I not playing in the Premier League? That's what we'll be asking.
Exactly. Yeah. Why were these? It's a simple question of why did you allow? I'd be straight in there. Probably Mogga would just be sitting there going, "Oh, it's not me, mate." You know what I mean? Off you go to the CEO's office. And why were these players allowed to leave and yet you weren't? You stopped me going. In what could have been a dream move for him. So it's incredible to the questions that Jack would be sitting there pondering over.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a great day for deadline day. I'm obviously back onto the Middlesbrough front. I think we're expecting one more in, Dave. Alex Bangura, the left back.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to come in on a permanent. It does look like Martin Piero's days are numbered and they are gone. It looks like he's going to sign with
Udinese.
Udinese. Udinese.
Yeah.
So it's not been the greatest career for Martin Piero at the Boro. I mean, a few manager changes hasn't helped that, but I do feel bad for Piero. I thought he came in with a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, and when we did see him on that pitch, I thought he did a couple of he had a bit of promise. You know what I mean? And it was just, but it now turns out to be that it's going to end on a very pretty limp note, and that it'll go down as a signing that didn't hit the mark. So, is it a fault of the player? Or is it a fault of the club? Who not that it matters now, but sometimes it just doesn't work out in the end, I guess.
And he went back to Argentina, where you thought he would have been able to acclimatise very quickly to the football, to the obviously back to his home country. Played 25 games for Boca Juniors while he was on loan. Scored a handful of goals. What did he get? 5 or 6 goals, something like that. But they didn't want to keep him. They didn't want to keep him on a permanent deal. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, he's now been unfancied though by 3 managers. 3 different managers have gone through in Martin Piero's time. Obviously, he was signed under the Warnock regime, and obviously we've had Wilder and now Carrick in there as well. So there's been 3 managers that haven't really fancied Piero. So I mean, there's something to be said there as well, that maybe he just isn't happy in Middlesbrough, and sometimes obviously acclimatising from a different country, into the Boro, can't be easy, but he just hasn't, hit the mark. So,
but he's got talent.
I wish him all the best. He does.
He's played for the Argentina under-23 national team, so he's done it at almost at the highest level in terms of international football. One step away from the A team, So he must have talent, the boy. But Carrick, I think Carrick's a fair guy. I think he would have come back and said to him, "Look, prove yourself in training." And if he's now happy to let him go as the window comes to a close, just to see out what will be his Boro career. That's it. It's going to be seen out in Italy. Then Carrick must have spotted it. He must have spotted something.
You have to. You trust Carrick, as anyone, and someone that I know when Piero rocked back into the preseason camp that he said he's a Boro player, and he's our player, and we'll give him all the chances in the world. And it looks like those chances have come with a bit, albeit bit part, but we don't know obviously behind the scenes what's happening. Is Piero might have walked back in and said, "I don't want to be here," and now it's taken till deadline day to get him that move away, or Carrick Saunders, and you look, mate, you're not going to make it into my squad, sort of thing. It seems like he's an honest bloke. He said to Matt Crooks before he signed a long-term deal that I can't promise you that you'll be playing every day, but I still want you at the club. And Matt Crooks was happy to sign on and extend his deal. Is the tree. So it does look like Carrick does come across as an honest and fair manager. And obviously, Piero's just not fitting into that.
Yeah. I did promise I'd give contact details out. You can WhatsApp the show, WhatsApp message. You can actually record a voice message and WhatsApp it into us. You can even call us live on WhatsApp. The number is 0330 043 2002. That's 0330 043 2002. That gets you straight through to the studio when we're on air. If you are a Sunderland fan and you fancy getting on the show as a Sunderland fan, because we've got Steve, Newcastle fan, we've got Ry, the Boro fan, we need that Sunderland fan to come and join the team. You fancy it? Send us an email to the Cat. It's hello@thecatuk.com. hello@thecatuk.com. Just send us your email. We'll get in touch. We'll have a chat. Get you on the show. We'll do all that sort of stuff.
Can't hear from you.
Yeah,
sure.
can't say further than that. Got a few pennies. Got a few pennies to earn, mate. Go and recharge your glass. Relieve yourself if you have to, and we'll be back after this. It's a bit like the Teesside weather forecast. 14 degrees today. Yes, it was 8 degrees this time yesterday. And here we are. Technically, hang on. We have clicked over to the 1st of September, so I suppose technically we've just ticked into autumn. So
we've just ticked into spring here. So it was a balmy 16 degrees for us here today. So hopefully the warmer weather is on the way.
Yeah, I'd like to say that here. We do tend to have a bit of an Indian summer in the UK. We do get a week. Yeah, we get a week of real warm stuff kicking in September, and then after that, it's put the jumpers on, put the Michael Carrick cardigans on, and then the coats and the scarves and the hats and the gloves. And by that time, we're looking at FA Cup third round day. So there you go. So we got to wrap up. We got about 6 minutes, mate, to have a chat. Hang on a second, we've got messages coming in. So Newcastle actually letting one or two youngsters go before the window closes. That's interesting.
Yeah, it does look like Newcastle United are going to have some action on deadline day, as obviously we do see Isaac Hayden and Jeff Hendrick. Obviously looks like they are going to get move away from Newcastle. Obviously they were linked with Luton earlier in the week and that fell through. But it does look like Isaac Hayden and Jeff Hendrick will get moves to Sheffield Wednesday on deadline day. So both of them leaving the Toon, obviously not in Newcastle's plans this season. And it does look like, again, their wage bill will get lifted by Jeff Hendrick and Isaac Hayden both moving. And also a youngster in Lucas de Bol. Lucas de Bol is a young 20-year-old, a midfielder, born in Scotland to a Belgian father. But he'll be off to Feyenoord's under-21s on a season loan. So... and it doesn't look like he'll come back because I believe his contract is due to expire next summer. But another deadline day for Newcastle out the door. A couple of there, obviously, in Isaac Hayden and Jeff Hendrick. But a third one in Lucas de Bol going to Feyenoord and on a season loan. And then, obviously, his contract up in the summer. So another three maybe out the door of Newcastle today.
Yeah, and it's going to save a bit of wages as well for them, but I suppose not hugely when you start looking at the sums of money they've been doing in the transfer business, and Tonali won't be cheap to keep paying on a regular basis, and the likes. Isak should be on decent money as well. So look, it's all.
They're moving some money around, aren't they?
It's all part of balancing the books as best you can. Financial fair play, but it's also a case of getting your players some decent experience. On the field experience, getting them some playing time. Particularly the youngsters, because the youngsters could sit there and just twiddle their thumbs and not be prepared when the opportunity comes for them. Where we've seen at the Boro with the players that's been going out on loan.
And we see with Jed Spence at Tottenham, we never got a game.
An interesting one.
Jed Spence. The ex Boro, obviously on loan to Nottingham Forest in the Championship, had an amazing season for Nottingham Forest, not fitting into Warnock's fans. We saw the classic Jed Spence cigar photo as a Boro fan at the end of the season when Nottingham got promotion to the Premier League, saying, a little cheeky dig at Warnock, but Warnock saying, look, mate, good luck in the Premier League. And he was right. Jed Spence did not get a single game at Tottenham in his first full season in the Prem, and he's off to Leeds United on a season loan deal. So we will be versing another Jed Spence, seeing him a lot more this season against Leeds United after joining Spurs last summer in a $20 million deal. Another good deal there for Boro. And obviously, we'll be seeing him at Ellen Road, linking up with his fellow Spurs loanee, Joe Rodon. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jed goes back. Obviously, the last time he was in the Championship, he tore it apart for Nottingham. Was a very decent right back. But interesting to see Jed Spence's Tottenham career after Neil Warnock saying that it probably wouldn't work out. Not really working out, Dave.
Yeah, is he? And what sort of reception are you expecting from him at the Riverside when he turns up?
I reckon there's going to be a fair few boos, mate, to be honest with you. I don't know. I think the way he left was a bit of a sour grapes. He had a bit of a dig at our current then manager, Neil Warnock. And look, I think we all saw what kind of Neil Warnock saw. We did have Jedge, but his attitude just wasn't that, wasn't right when he was there. And, it does happen. Players can't, don't seem to fit into the fold, don't seem to fit into the manager's plans, and then your attitude seems to go a bit wayward. But it'll be very interesting seeing Jed Spence line up for Leeds and the reception he gets, because we haven't seen him for a while. And hopefully we'll see how he goes off in the Championship again, and hopefully has another quiet season. Because we don't want to be seeing Leeds up there. But on Boro's home ground, I'm hoping for a big win against QPR this weekend, and obviously Newcastle away to Brighton. That's going to be a tough game, and then obviously Sunderland as well at Southampton, kicking it off for the Northeast teams. It's going to be a big weekend, and I can't wait for Monday's show because there's going to be a lot to talk about.
There will be, absolutely.
We're going to see the deadline day shut. We're going to see the games on the weekend. Will they, won't they leave with Sunderland? How does Newcastle fare against Brighton? Again, Steve saying they haven't gotten a result there. So it's a big weekend for the Northeast footy teams. Yeah,
prediction time. So I'm going to go for Newcastle to get a point against Brighton. Just can't see them winning. Can't see them winning, but can't see them losing either because they've got too much in the tank. Boro are going to beat QPR. I think it's going to be the first win of the season in terms of league. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Sunderland Southampton's an interesting one because it depends who's playing for whom.
It's who's today, it depends on today. I think, you could probably see, if all those players do leave Sunderland today, I'm going Southampton 4-0. I mean, in an absolute demolition of Sunderland and their, and everything that's going on at Sunderland at the moment, because Southampton are a team on fire at the moment. They're looking to bounce straight back into the Prem, and they're obviously going to have a couple of Sunderland's players in their roost as well. So I'm going for a big win at Southampton tomorrow if Sunderland aren't able to bring in a striker. I just can't see where their goals are going to come from. I can't see their defenders who are still at the club being too happy in Jack Clark as well. So, and obviously we've had the speculation with Danny Bath as well. So I'm going for a big win for Southampton. I agree with the draw. I'm going for a classic 3-1 victory for the Boro over QPR. I think we're going to be very, very spoiled for choice with goals. I think we're going to get Latte Lath. We're going to have Lewis O'Brien in there. Sammy Greenwood will come on as well. Riley McGree's got to start for me as well. The GOAT from down under before the international break. So I think, Middlesbrough lining up a big win in what's going to end and cap a very good week with the cup win, a couple of deadline day signings, and a big win at QPR to get our season right back on track.
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 Boro, so there you go. So just one goal less than you. It's going to be an interesting one for Mogger then, an interesting weekend for Mogger, because if that does come true,
survive?
If the players leave and they do get turned over at the Stadium of Light, there's a decision to be made from him, I think. Well, more so for the club, because they've done it to him.
He might walk.
Yeah,
he might walk. Absolutely. Yeah, we might be seeing a managerless Sunderland come Monday morning on the radio. We might be seeing it.
And don't forget, Sunderland fans, you want to be on the show, give us a shout. Email address is the best of the cat, because we're just about finished now. hello@thecatuk.com. That's hello@thecatuk.com. How do you fancy
Good
being
luck to all the Northeast fans this weekend.
Right, it's been a pleasure. Well done, mate. Great week.
It's been a great week, Dave. I appreciate it, mate. Thank you for having me on. I've enjoyed it. Thank you for everyone that's texted in and got in touch with me through Twitter, everything like that on my socials. Absolutely loving hearing from you and feedback for the show. It's been an incredible week, and good luck to all the Northeast footy teams. But unfortunately, you're not going to be anywhere near the Boro as we win the Carabao Cup and we're winning the league.
Good man. Talk to you soon. See you Monday.
Talk to you soon. Have a good weekend.
I'll bring a coffee in the morning,